Oma Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurin Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Why are we gathered here? We gathered here because we want to glorify Krishna. This glorification of Krishna is called Krishna Kirtan. Krishna Kirtan has been promoted by Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's program. Chant Hare Krishna. Everyone should chant Hare Krishna. Every evening when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was residing in Puri, every evening they would have Kirtan with all the devotees. And so many demigods disguised as pilgrims would come to join the Kirtan. So we are praying for the opportunity to join Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan party. To personally behold with our eyes that beautiful form of Lord Chaitanya dancing in the ecstasy of Krishna Kirtan. Parama Karuna Pahundui Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Saba Avatar Sara Shiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu are the most merciful avatars because they give a process which is very simple and very joyful. Chant Hare Krishna. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's program. Chant. Every evening they would have chanting, and then at the end, distribution of prasadam. So you do this also. Chant Hare Krishna. Take prasadam. Take prasadam means not sometimes take prasad, but that should only take prasad. Prasad means that which is cooked by devotees and offered with love to Krishna. So that's an important part of bhakti, the vow to take only Krishna prasadam. No potato crisps or bread purchased from the shop, none of these things. We should only take Krishna prasadam. That's the sign of being a devotee, one of the symptoms of being a devotee. So this is the process given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It might seem a little strict. You don't know that word? You should know that word. That's an important word. That means you're not strict. You're exposed. It might seem a little strict. If we tell people no tea, no coffee, they might say, all right, no. You say that, we say no Hare Krishna. Mama said we should say that also. No meat. So in the beginning we don't tell people all these things. You come, you chant Hare Krishna and take Krishna prasadam. But gradually people should come to understand that to lead a pure life or to approach Krishna as the supreme pure, we have to lead a pure life also. The Krishna Bhakti Ras is very sweet. So if we become attracted to Krishna Bhakti Ras, then we won't be attracted to lower things. So those who are actually becoming serious about bhakti, then gradually they give up all these bad habits. Gradually or immediately. We've seen many people, they've given up all their bad habits just by the power of Krishna Bhakti. When I was living in the ISKCON temple in central London, I'll tell one anecdote. Well, every day the brahmacharis used to go out for distributing Prabhupada's books in London. So one of our devotees, Kripamai Prabhu, he's still doing a lot of preaching in England. One day someone came and harassed him. He was in the streets in London approaching people with the books. And this man came and said, no, this is all Satan and Christ is the only way. And he couldn't distribute any books because this man was making such a disturbance. So he thought what to do. He thought, it's around lunchtime, I'll go back to the temple, I'll take lunch prasadam, I'll get a few more books, and then by doing this I'll get rid of this man also, and then I'll go back again on book distribution. So he was quite close to the temple, and he walked back to the temple, and this man followed him saying, Jesus is the only way, this is all Satan. So he reached the temple, he thought, phew, no. At last I can get rid of him. He walked in the temple door. This Kripamay Prabhu, he came to the temple and he thought, now at last I can get rid of him. And he walked in the temple door and thought, now I'm safe. But he followed him right inside the door. Like a crazy man, he was going on, Jesus is the only way. So the temple president was standing there. That was Prabhavishnu Das Brahmachari, who's now Prabhavishnu Swami. So he saw this man and he looked at him and said, stop! And he stopped. What's your problem? Why are you harassing our devotees? So he started saying, well, Jesus is the only way and this is all Satan, and the same thing he started saying. So Prabhavishnu Maharaj said, okay, come and sit down, take lunch, we'll discuss afterward. So he did very submissively, he took prasadam. Then they discussed. And after some hours of discussing, he admitted, you're right, everything you say is true. So he said, so what should I do? Prabhupada Maharaj said, join the temple. Well, I'm married, I have a family, and I'm a butcher, and I smoke 40 cigarettes a day. In fact, I want to go and smoke one right now. Prabhupada Maharaj said, doesn't matter, give it all up, come and chant Hare Krishna. He said, okay. So he did. He struggled a bit. He would chant Hare Krishna very seriously, but then sometimes he would vanish outside the temple for some time. When he came back, there was a smell of tobacco on his mouth. Say, are you smoking again? He said, it's really difficult. I've been smoking 40 cigarettes a day for the last 25 years. But within a few months, he gave it all up, got initiated by Srila Prabhupada, Giri Govardhan Das, and after some time he went back to his family, but he didn't be a butcher anymore, and he remained a devotee. After a few years, actually, of living in the temple. Well, that was a pretty special case, but the point is that by the power of Harinam, Dino Hino Joto Chilo Hariname Udharilo, those who are very fallen, they can be lifted up by the power of the holy name. There are many cases like that. There's a man in Russia who's in prison for life for having murdered several people. But somehow or other he got one of Prabhupada's books in the prison, and he's chanting Hare Krishna very seriously. In fact, most of Prabhupada's disciples, coming from the Western countries, you can imagine, or maybe better you don't imagine, what kind of background they or we all came from. Once, actually several times, but once on one particular occasion, Prabhupada was saying about his Western disciples that you're all sent by Lord Chaitanya to help me spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. We can see that Prabhupada, he was preaching, and so many people took up Krishna consciousness very seriously in the Western countries, and took so many risks to spread Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada would send them all over the world. Here, you go to Japan. One or two devotees, they don't know the language, they don't even know the philosophy much, they've only been chanting Hare Krishna for a few months. They don't know anyone there. It's a highly materialistic country. They don't have any money. The Prabhupada said, go to Japan, preach. Okay. And they went, and they started Krishna conscious movement there. It's still a very difficult place to preach, and people are still very materialistic. What do you think, Sevakapati? You were there in Japan. I met him in Japan. I came off the plane after, I don't know, how many hours on the plane? 12 hours, is it? From something too much anyway. 12 hours on the plane. And he cooked some soup for me, kept me alive. So it's a tough place, huh? People are very materialistic. They don't even stop to talk to you. Yeah, they won't listen. But there are some very nice devotees. There are not many devotees there, but they're very nice, sincere devotees. So like that, Prabhupada, he sent people here and there to preach, and on Prabhupada's order, they just had such faith in Prabhupada and the holy name that they would go different places and set up new centers. So once when one devotee, Prabhupada was saying that you're all sent by Lord Chaitanya, and one devotee said, well, how is that possible, Prabhupada? Because we are all having so many sinful activities. Prabhupada said, well, that was just superficial. Because you see, as soon as you met me, you gave that all up. That means that you weren't that wasn't your real identity. You were just waiting for me to come. So it's a fact that people, they can become purified and happy by chanting Hare Krishna. This process that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given, conveyed to us by Prabhupada, is very joyful, very practical, very pure and very powerful. I said joyful, practical, pure and powerful. So chant Hare Krishna and be happy. There's only one condition. Vishaya charya shairashe majya. One, you can't have bhakti ras and sense gratification at the same time. So like I say, in the beginning we don't emphasize this too much. But gradually, if people are to take up Krishna consciousness seriously, they have to become detached from everything which obstructs our Krishna consciousness. We have to enter into the spirit of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings in Shikshashtakam. Who knows this? They can chant with me, Nadhanam. No, wait a minute. You have to say it in Tamil. That's why I didn't start chanting. Not Nadhanam. No, I don't. I want you to say that those who know it can chant with me. You just translate, don't add the purport. So, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishvare, bhavatat bhaktir ahaituki tvai. So, it's a nice verse. Once you learn it, it's easy to say. We should all learn Shikshashtak and recite it. So it's easy to say, but we have to see how much we're actually feeling like that. Okay, now give the translation of the verse. Nadhanam najanam nasundarim. Who can say that? Who can say, someone comes and says, here's 1 crore of rupees. And someone says, I don't want it. Who can say that? You'll be very popular, very famous, and say, I don't want it. Here's beautiful woman you can enjoy, or who will say, which man will say, I don't want. Here is comfort, nice building, nice house, servants, prestige. Who will say no? Well, maybe a Brahmagani will say no. But then he wants moksha. So if you say to him, you take moksha, he'll accept, yes, that's what I want. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I don't want moksha also. I only want to serve you, Krishna, even if I'm born again and again and again. So who can actually say this? I mean, we can say it with our mouths, but who can actually say this with their heart? That I don't want money or followers or beautiful women or even liberation. Who can say this with their heart is that person who has realized that service to Krishna is my only duty and there is nothing in comparison to this. There's nothing worth doing except serving Krishna. One who has tasted bhakti ras is never interested in mundane enjoyment or even liberation. That is possible by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One who has the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, se jane bhakti rasasha. He knows what is the essence of bhakti ras. So the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is manifested by the desire to serve Krishna and concomitant detachment from everything material. So please go on chanting this Hare Krishna mantra with great enthusiasm. It's very nice to see the young children from the beginning of life are taking to Bhakti also. The little children are very happily chanting and dancing. And we have the older generation also with Sham Pranadika Devi Dasi in old age practicing Krishna Bhakti very strictly. You know that word, strict now. Shama Pran Adika means it's a name for Radharani, which means that to her, Sham, namely Krishna, is more than her very life. Or it can also mean that to Sham, to Krishna, Radharani is more than his very life. So she's practicing Krishna consciousness very seriously, and all generations in between. So everyone please chant Hare Krishna regularly. Come together, chant, dance and be happy. Take Krishna Prasad. Make Krishna the goal of your life. Read Prabhupada's books. Are you all reading Prabhupada's books? I saw one set of Chaitanya Charitamrita in English in the house I was staying in. So learn about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I've made this introductory book on Premavatar Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's available in Tamil. And for the first time I'm bringing here in Telugu, because I know there are some Telugu speaking devotees here also. So we want that people should know who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just by taking to this process given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, people can become happy in all respects. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is to make everyone happy. How? By giving them cars and TVs? No. We might think that if we give 2 rupees a kilo rice and a TV, then everyone will be happy. But people are not becoming happy. They're becoming lazy actually. Because they don't have to work. They get rice for 2 rupees and they sit and watch the TV. So they become lazy and more useless. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving something much better. That is Krishna Bhakti Ras. So Tamil Nadu is very famous for Rasam. Prasiddhamana for Rasam. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving Bhakti Rasa. That means we offer it to Krishna before we take it. So take Krishna Prasad, read Prabhupada's books, chant Hare Krishna, and understand that everything except service to Krishna is just wasting our valuable human form of life. Hare Krishna. Is there any question? No. Alright, good. This, just like to tell that Chitta Hari Prabhu, you can stand up. He's been wanting to be a full-time devotee in the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for many years, but due to various complications hasn't been able to. So last few years he's been working in software company in Bangalore. But now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan Padayatra is coming again to Tamil Nadu and will be 3 days in this area. So Chitta Hari Prabhu is going to be walking with them. So, walking away from his well-paying job to serve the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the villages of Tamil Nadu by assisting in the preaching mission. So you can all give your congratulations and blessings and pray for his performing tremendous service in the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as given to us by Srila Prabhupada. You have to say that in Tamil. They're all saying Hari Bol, but they don't know what for. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. You'll become a little thinner. And you'll lose some weight on top also. That still has to go. On Padayatra they all become thin, is it? They become more fat. It becomes the guru. Alright, so, Arati. Arati Korena Brahma. Where's Brahma?